And the Israeli military says it has struck more than 150 Hamas targets in Gaza over the past 72 hours, including sites that it claims were where armed militants were gathering. The Palestinian official news agency is reporting an Israeli airstrike hit a group of civilians in Gaza City, killing 7 people.
Gaza-based health authorities claim the Palestinian death toll has risen to more than 50,000 since the start of the conflict in early October 2023. Alon Pinkas is a former Consul General of Israel to New York City and a former advisor to Israeli Prime Minister Shimon Peres and Ehud Barak. He says he's not optimistic for the outlook of the conflict.
The question is how you define events and how you define drama. There have been 3 separate incidents. 2 Israeli soldiers were killed in the Gaza Strip yesterday, that is Thursday. And another Yemeni Houthi missile was fired into central Israel, but was intercepted afternoon Israel time, which was about 7 hours ago. So it was 11 or 12 p.m. midnight Sydney time. And the third, supposedly unrelated development is that the American administration indicated that they believe there is progress that is being made in the nuclear agreement talks with Iran. So you take those 3, supposedly they have nothing in common, but actually where we are in this region, they do have something in common.
Alon, I want to get into some of the specifics in just a moment. But first, what is your assessment of the war and things as they stand right now?
It's actually a very complicated answer for which we have no time, because there's no reason for the war to go on. This is a war that began with the savage Hamas terror attack on Israel on October 7, 2023. That's 19 months ago. That's over a year and a half ago. And Israel vowed and pledged and promised and declared all over the place that we're after total victory and annihilating and eradicating and obliterating and removing Hamas. None of that has been achieved. What has been achieved is a significant degrading of Hamas militarily, but devastation and destruction in Gaza of the likes that you could see in the footage that you just showed in the background. And right now, it is unclear what Israel intends to do militarily. Now, if you recall, and I'm sure many of our viewers that are interested and follow the news in the last year and a half do recall, Israel refused to engage with the Americans, but in general, pertaining to any post-war Gaza plans. So right now, we are at a stage where Israel is again declaring vociferously that it intends to expand the military operation without attainable or feasible military goals. And all this in the conspicuous absence of any political objective. It's unclear where Israel is headed, unless, and that's an important point here that you may want to expand on that, unless Israel has intentions of creeping occupation, meaning staying in Gaza permanently militarily, calling it temporary on political grounds, but for all intents and purposes, it's going to be occupation. That is not something that the Israeli public supports, but that's where we are now.
Well, I wonder if, Alon, that's exactly the kind of tone that we're seeing, given that Israel's far-right finance minister is reported to have said that the Gaza Strip should be, quote, entirely destroyed and its inhabitants, quote, leave in great numbers to third countries after the war. Is that the kind of language that would indicate exactly the point that you were making, that this may be headed towards occupation?
No, it's the kind of nonsensical, reckless talk that leads countries to find themselves accused in The Hague, in the International Court of Justice or International Criminal Court. It is also highly impractical. I'm not even talking about the immorality of it. It's just plainly impractical. There are 2.3 million Palestinians. This is not a town or an area that is being vacated. This is 2.3 million people that you can see in the pictures that you're showing now. living in the densest place, the densest swath of land in the on this planet, desolate, hopeless, hungry, thirsty, and sick. So the idea that Israel would occupy them is insane. The idea that Israel could actually expel them is absolutely insane. So yeah, he's an extreme right-wing minister. He's speaking out of some kind of religious fervor and some kind of perpetual victimhood that we're allowed to do everything because there's terror against us. This is not going to be government policy. As right-wing and often irresponsible as this government is, this will not be. I guarantee you that this will not eventually become government policy.
And Alon, just finally, we've seen the images there of people in need seeking food, water, aid supplies. This has been a big discussion over this entire 19 months, but particularly in recent months. We've also seen some news out over the last little while that food shipments are expected or at least hoped to restart in the near future. Do you have any optimism or any sense of what might happen there?
Well, we need to break it down for people to understand. For the food to go in, someone has to provide the food. So let's say Israel provides the food or some international nonprofit do-good organizations do that. Now you need to distribute the food, and you need to distribute it in centers, and someone has to maintain law and order. Who's going to do that? The whole idea, Dan, of a post-war Gaza agreement that the American administration, the Biden administration, proposed was for an inter-Arab force to go in, replace Hamas, and do exactly that. And Israel refused. Now, if Israel does that, that's de facto occupation. So no, I'm not optimistic. Because if feeding 2.3 million people and providing them with essential medicine and medical supplies requires physical presence. Now, Israel kicked out UNRWA, the UN relief organization. It is not willing for an inter-Arab force to go into Gaza. I don't see Australia doing this voluntarily. I don't see the Americans doing this voluntarily. And I don't see the European Union doing this voluntarily. And even the United Arab Emirates, who said they will shoulder some of the responsibility, not just the cost, but the actual implementation of this, they announced today that they're unhappy with the plans that Israel showed them. So, no, I'm not optimistic. I'm sorry for the long answer.
Not at all. We appreciate your insights. Alon Pinkas, former Consul General of Israel, former advisor to two Israeli Prime Ministers. Many thanks for your time this morning.
My pleasure, Dan. Good morning.